Things didn't end too good between the Steelers and Kenny Pickett. The team expressed confidence in Kenny Pickett, said it was going to be a big year for Kenny Pickett this upcoming season, said it was going to be some competition. The Steelers went out and signed Russell Wilson. A conversation was had between the Steelers and Kenny Pickett, and I guess it was told, to Kenny Pickett that Russell Wilson, due to his body of work and things like that, he would have the upper hand in the competition. And I guess that didn't sit well with Kenny Pickett, and he requested a trade. That's what the reports are saying. And Kenny Pickett was traded to the Philadelphia Eagles. Now that that's all said and done, the question is, did Kenny Pickett make a mistake by requesting that trade? Well, if you look at it, Kenny Pickett is now with the Philadelphia Eagles, who have Jalen Hurts as the quarterback. Jalen Hurts led the Eagles to the Super Bowl, was in MVP talks, and things like that, been playing at a high level, younger than Russell Wilson, so he's pretty much cemented. He's pretty much set in stone as the starting quarterback with the Eagles. So the chances of Kenny Pickett getting on the field with the Eagles is probably due to an injury from Jalen Hurts, so you have to wait for either Jalen to get hurt or benched. And if you look at Jalen, man, he's been getting better each year. So not saying that he can't have a bad year, but he's probably going to have, his chances are probably going to have to come due to an injury. But now, with the Eagles signing Greer, they signed another quarterback. So now you may have a backup quarterback competition. You may have to beat out guys to be the backup. So that may be a competition within itself. And what if Kenny Pickett don't beat out Greer for the backup job? So now you go from being the next man up with the Steelers to being a third string with the Eagles. So that can be a scenario. Not saying that Greer will beat out, Kenny Pickett, but that's a possibility. They traded for Pickett, and then they went out and signed Greer right after that. So, you're going to have to compete with him. And then now, you look at it, year 3. This is coming into year 3 for Kenny Pickett, man. He has to play in order for Philly to pick up the option. If Philly doesn't see anything worth keeping, why would they pick up his option? So he would have to show something in either training camp or have a good preseason, enough for Philly to say, okay, even though he didn't play, we still see something in him and we'll pick him up, and him beating out. And if he lose, the backup job, then that option probably won't be picked up, because it's like, hey, this guy couldn't even beat out, a guy for the backup job. So you have to win the job, make sure you're the backup, and then get have a good camp and a good preseason. So even if you don't get on the field, you can still say, you can still show your worth. So it's going to be troubling, man. And if you don't, show nothing, and if they don't pick up the option, now you're a free agent. You're a free agent, after you're 4, and then with nothing to really show from but the tape that your last games with the Steelers, and that didn't end so good, and then you want to get that you're not a competitor off your resume, and the only way to do that is to play in some games. It's hard to get that, because the thing is going out there that Kenny Pickett is not a competitor. Soon as adversity came, he ran. Russell come, an older guy. You can't compete with an older guy. Some say Russell's washed up. They say, look at the 2 years, man, he didn't play that good. Other people say, hey, it was Sean Payton. Mixed feelings on Russell, but older guy. And people say, man, why didn't you just stay they say you're a gamer, they say this and that, you're a competitor. Well, you didn't compete. So now you have to, and then the thing about Seattle, you didn't want to dress and think. There's reports back and forth going on about that. Who knows the truth? So you want to get all of that off of your resume, going into your next team, because you don't want to have that being over your head too, because how is that going to sit in locker room? So you want to have to get out there and lead your team. So you're going to have to get out there in some regular season games to get that off of your resume, man. That's a bad look. People saying you're a crybaby, calling you transfer portal baby, attitudes and things like that, man. It's so, it may be a bad move depending on how it goes. Like I said, depending on how it goes, you never know, things may happen. But I do believe that he had a better shot at playing, in regular season games in Pittsburgh, with Russell Wilson only having the 1 year deal. Multiple year deal, you can maybe say, oh man, they brought him in, but 1 year, and Kenny has to understand why they brought him in for that 1 year, so you can't. I understand the frustration, with him, and them voicing their confidence and saying, it's going to be a big year for Kenny and things like that. And you go out and get Russell. And then, if the conversation was true that they told him, hey, Russell's going to get first cracks at first team, reps in camp and things like that. Hey, you have to put your head down and say, hey, I put myself in this position and I'm going to get myself out of it due to my good play. And you go and you put your gamer mentality on, man, and you go ahead and you compete. And who knows what 1 year can, it's 1 year. Things might not work out with Russell, and you're right back in the mix. But in Philly, Jalen Hurts has already proven he's the guy there. So, injury is the only thing that's really going to get him off the field, or bad play. But Jalen Hurts, he's a student of the game. He's a learner, and he's been getting better. So I see his play, his good play staying the same. So. It's right now it's looking like a bad move, that's one thing about asking for a trade. You never know where you're going to land, but it said that the Steelers granted Kenny Pickett's wish. He wanted to go to Philly. It was either out of the Saints in Philly, and he wanted to go to Philly, being a Philly fan, being from New Jersey, close to family and home and things like that. So at least that part, ended right. They got that part right. Both sides, they was able to send him to a team that he wanted, and his choice, because it's normally not like that. I know Deontay Johnson would have preferred to go to the Chiefs rather than the Panthers, but because the Chiefs had an offer for Deontay Johnson, and the Steelers said, no, we'll send him to the Panthers. So it's not always, like that. You get to go to a team that you may want to go to. So it's good that, they can end it on that note, to such a bad ending to which looked like a promising start, man. He got drafted, from Pitt and things like that, man. People was happy. The Pickett merchandise was flying off the streets, the jerseys and all that, man, and it just didn't translate, in Pittsburgh. But good thing for Pickett, man. He gets to go to a team that he likes and grew up rooting for and watching, and you know, wish him the best. You know, hopefully he can rejuvenate his career in front of his family and you know, his friends and things like that, and everything works out for him, you know, and everybody can have a happy ending, the Steelers and Kenny Pickett, you know. So Kenny Pickett is now in Philly, you know. Was it a bad move on his behalf? Who knows? You know, as of now, it kind of looks like that because of this quarterback situation. Russell only on a 1-year deal, and Jalen Hurts being the guy in Philly, so his chances were greater on the Steelers. You know, he had a better chances of playing in Pittsburgh than in Philly, but you never know. So, well, good luck to you, Kenny, and thanks for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell to get all the new videos. And until next time, I'm out.